Here's an idea for all you anti-vaxxers and all you God-praying, no, we don't need modern medicine stuff. Stop washing your dishes.
Yeah.
Stop putting food in the refrigerator. If God wants the food to stay good enough for you to eat, He won't let any germs or bacteria get in there that could make your kid sick or your family sick. By not vaccinating your kid, you're doing the exact same thing as not washing your dishes and not putting food in the refrigerator. You hypocritical morons.
Well, and that's interesting because one of the claims of the anti-vax movement is that the reduction in the death toll that we've experienced over the last century or so since we've started having lots of vaccines is a result of improved sanitation. That's what did it. And so my question is, what happened last year with the measles outbreak? And you know, if measles were a foodborne disease, then they might have some basis for making that claim. But measles is not foodborne. Pertussis is not foodborne. And I bring up.
Don't get me wrong. Sanitation is a good thing.
Oh, sanitation is an excellent thing.
But you know, I'd say the advances in modern medicine that, I don't know, when your lung fills with fluid, we can now jab a needle in it and remove the fluid, diagnose the problem, and send you on your way home. Doesn't have so much to do with sanitation as it does have to do with modern medicine practices. So you know.
Well, and some of these vaccines, I don't know if it's really possible to adequately quantify the amount of human misery they prevent. In terms of, let's take hepatitis A, for example. That is actually caused by contaminated food and water. And that vaccine was added to the immunization schedule for 2009. Actually, it might have been there in 2008, I'm not sure. But when my son went in for his routine shots over a year ago, we talked about the hepatitis series, both A and B. He had already had the hepatitis B series, or at least 2 of the shots. He was due for the 3rd, and he was ready for the Hep A. And what our pediatrician told us was that initially in Texas they recommended the Hep A shot only for kids at high risk. So kids who lived in less than ideal situations, like down near in the Rio Grande Valley, for example, where you know some of the sanitation stuff's not that great, or kids who are just indigent or whatever. What they found in Texas is that the Hep A rate of infection for the high-risk kids dropped below the rate of infection for the low-risk kids because of the vaccine. And as a result of that, they said everybody gets the vaccine now. So it's a really dramatic effect. For those of you who don't know what hepatitis A does, it causes nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Now, if you tell me that you got a shot that can keep me from getting nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, I am all over that.
I think we just young Earth creationists are carriers of Hep A, because every time I argue with one of them, I get nauseous. I tell you, why don't we pause for a minute? We had some people that have been on the phone for like 30 minutes. We'll see if we can't knock some of them out. And I'm sure, because I want to clear room for the young Earth creationist anti-vaxxer that I just pissed off. So
one of the problems with faith-based vaccination exemptions is that in 2002 this was challenged. A couple in Arkansas tried to claim a religious exemption from vaccination. The State Board of Education, or the school district, refused it because they could not. The Arkansas law said you got to list the denomination, the address of your church, specific written doctrine that prohibits vaccination and stuff like that. So they took it to court, and the court said, this fails the Lemon test because this is government involvement in religion, and you can't do that. So now what states have done is they've expanded this to cover philosophical exemptions. So you don't have to actually have any religious basis for your request for exemption. All you have to do is believe that you shouldn't get your kid vaccinated for whatever reason, and you can get an exemption. So lots of these exemptions have spread now, and I've got an example from last year in a Waldorf school of what happens when you get to the point where herd immunity is eroded. In this particular school, and just for those of you who don't know about Waldorf schools, it was based on this educational philosophy of a guy named Rudolf Steiner. And parents whose children attend Waldorf schools are more inclined to believe in natural and alternative approaches to health, for example, and they are also more likely to opt out of vaccinations, which is what happened in this case. About 50% of them were not vaccinated or fully vaccinated for pertussis. Whooping cough broke out in the school. They ended up having to close the school as a result of it. So there's a direct relationship between a public health impact on these exemptions and you know, this whole religious notion that you can get an exemption because God told me not to vaccinate my kids. Oh, but you can't ask me, you know, too much about my religion, so I just get an exemption because I think God talked to me.
Yeah. What if secretly your religion is that you have to sacrifice your firstborn, and so the easiest way to do that is just to avoid the vaccination and then expose them to as many, you know, germs and stuff as you possibly can?
Well, yeah, you can do it. And just so you know, I'm going to throw this out, and I'm going to wrap this up because I think
we got like 3 minutes and 2 calls waiting.
Yeah. So currently, 48 states have some kind of exemption clause. Everybody's got a medical exemption. Only 2 states do not have either a religious or philosophical exemption clause. That's Mississippi and West Virginia. So you either have a medical reason or you can't opt out in those 2 states. Everybody else, there's some combination of medical and or philosophical religious exemptions. So as a result of this, the number of exemptors has risen significantly in the last few years. So it's about tripled now from what it was. So this isn't enough to affect herd immunity in most places now, but you've got pockets where it's cropping up now.